These Spanish tourists have just arrived in Sosua, a tourist spot in the north of the Dominican Republic. Many couples choose this Caribbean island as a vacation spot, but so do single men and women.
Many tourists come here alone. They come to spend their vacations alone without their wives or boyfriends. They have fun. There are also lots of them who come with their wives but sneak in a little fling on the sly. The women here don't leave them alone. Most of them say they're going to discos. If they're alone, they're prostitutes. But sometimes, even if they're with an escort, they're prostitutes.
I see. So, how old are they?
All ages, even as young as 14.
On the beach too?
Of course, because the women check out the beaches during the day to lure clients, and they either succeed or make a date at night.
Over the last few years, the number of minors offering themselves to tourists on the beaches, in bars and in discos has risen dramatically. It is known as neo-prostitution. Young people come from all over the country in search of the wealth associated with tourism. It is estimated that in the Dominican Republic, which has a population of about 7 million, there are 25,000 minors working as prostitutes. The tourist police have just arrested a minor who was soliciting on the beach. Child prostitution and street walking is illegal in the Dominican Republic, but only the minors are arrested. Nothing happens to their clients.
The great majority of sex tourists, and I often say this to shock people, could be your father or brother. They're not real paedophiles. They only indulge in these practices occasionally. They go off on a trip, find the market, and come up with thousands of excuses to justify their behavior.
The United Nations considers anyone under the age of 18 to be a minor. For the organizations fighting child prostitution, sex tourists are circumstantial pedophiles. Most of them aren't driven by a sick desire for children. They just take advantage of the circumstances. They don't care if the prostitute is 14 or 24. For the minors, a relationship with a foreigner could dramatically change their lives.
Some are pushed into it by their own families, who need to improve their living conditions. They hope they'll marry in the end. German tourists, for example, are very attracted to minors, especially the dark-skinned ones. Some of them get married, and this helps their families to live better.
Sosua by night.
Good, decent girls.
Young, old?
All kinds, any kind you like. And if you want, they dance in the nightclubs. They dance in the nude.
All tourists have to do is walk out of their hotels and go to the bars and discos to find all kinds of offers. Our hidden cameras were eyewitnesses. In this outdoor nightclub, the waitresses dance on the bar to liven up the atmosphere. The male customers are tourists. The girls are prostitutes, most of them minors. Sandra says she's 18, but she carries no identification to prove it. She has a 1-year-old daughter. Isn't street life hard?
A little, but my life is, for me, it's pretty relaxed. It's not hard.
What do you mean by relaxed?
I don't get upset. I don't get upset by anything. If I can come to the disco, I do, and if I can't, I don't.
Why are there so many girls on the street?
Because they want money. They want to dress well. They want to buy shoes, cars. They want to find a rich man.
What about you?
Me too. The problem with Dominican men is that the ones who have money want girls who have money too. And the ones who have no money want girls who work and to give them the money that they make. There are some who accept being poor. They get used to it. They know get used to it, but not all of them. The boys who want to dress well, want money, they want to buy clothes, shoes. So they have to have a girl who works with tourists. That's how they can get these things.
What does your family think about all this?
They want me to marry a tourist. They know I used to live with a Dominican. They know everything about my life. They don't object to anything I do.
Many tourists can be seen in the streets with young Dominican women. They usually meet in the discos, where in theory minors are barred entry. They agree on a price, about 500 pesos or $30, but fees are negotiable.
There are young girls here, about 16 or 17. They give them 400 pesos, 200 for the room, and they keep the rest. Or 300 and 200 for the room, 500 pesos for everything. Rooms for rent here.
This hotel receptionist has just offered us a 16-year-old girl.
She's very good.
She's good, eh? So, has she been in the business for long?
No, she's only a child.
When did she start?
Look, you can tell by looking at her. She has only one son. She's a child, a mere child. She'll come by after 11. Come here after 11.
He tells us to come back later. Suddenly, lots of girls run into a disco. The police have turned up. They arrest the girls who are alone in the street. They make them pay 500 pesos to be set free, exactly what the girls charge.
Do you know why? Because the prostitutes on the street are waiting for the tourists so they can rob their money. It's a cinch. All they do is put their arms around you, then they put their hands behind you.
After warning us of the dangers of street prostitution, our impromptu guide offered to introduce us to some girls who were totally reliable.
I have some friends who own hotels nearby where there are women. I know some as young as 13, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 years old, and they're not thieves.
My name is Candy. I'm 15 years old.
Candy is the girl who the hotel receptionist we talked to earlier had waiting for us.
The situation isn't good for anyone, not even for rich people, but it's even worse for the poor. So if you get a chance to find a tourist who can give you what you need, you go with him. It doesn't matter how old he is. All that matters is he can give you what you need. All you want is to live well, find a job. Many of them have asked me to marry them.
What do you say to them?
So far, I've only said yes to one man who lives in New York.
This is Aguas Negras, a slum in the tourist city Puerto Plata near Sosua. About 7,000 people live here. All of them have come here from inland villages in search of the economic improvements associated with tourism. Most of the girls here dream of marrying a tourist. Many of them end up as prostitutes.
Most of them become prostitutes because they were raped by an uncle, or even their own fathers might have raped them, or because a girlfriend brought them there. Many of them even told us their families didn't know what they were doing.
Would you go off with a tourist?
I have a daughter, and I have nothing. I have a daughter who I have to support. My mother, too. I'd do anything for them.
This girl lives with her mother and 12 other people in this wooden shack with no toilet. As in many poor Caribbean families, there's no father in the family. The children all have different fathers. Ties between couples don't last very long. There are many adolescent pregnancies, and the fathers always end up leaving. Every afternoon, Luis Mendez drives through the slums of Puerto Plata picking up children. He is the director of Youth Integration, a charitable organization that tries to teach young girls and boys a trade to keep them from turning to prostitution. Diana, 12, and Denise, 13, are learning to become hairdressers here at the center. They know other girls their age who are already streetwalking.
Girls like us shouldn't be street walking. If one of my friends does, I try to talk her out of it. I try to convince her that they should come here with me to learn something so that one day she can be somebody.
They get no help from their parents. Their parents have no way of supporting them. Sometimes parents mistreat their children and they leave home.
Youth Integration is funded by private donations. The government subsidy it receives isn't even enough to pay for the bus's monthly fuel. These conditions make it hard to compete with the money that can be earned from prostitution.
70% of the working population earns less than the equivalent of $100 a month in Dominican pesos. Less than $100 a month for an 8-hour working day. But with a good client, prostitutes can make more than that in a couple of nights.
Those guys are really cheap.
When they come here, they feed us a line about how hard they work and how little they earn. They give us this whole story.
The guys they refer to are Spanish clients. Josefina Paulino usually visits the tourist brothels in Puerto Plata where minors work. Josefina is a member of Youth Integration and of Covacasida, an organization that tries to make prostitutes aware of the danger of AIDS.
Some men refuse to use condoms, and they won't pay the girls.
Last summer, Josefina went to Stockholm to take part in the first World Congress on child prostitution and pornography. Today, the Dominican Republic is 4th on the list of tourist havens for sex with minors.
As long as tourists come here and continue to think they are coming to an island of wonders, if they don't start treating us the way we deserve to be treated, as civilized, intelligent people, warm, humane people, if they don't start changing their outlook, then sexual exploitation will never end.
Dale la